people who represent their districts, and then we're also representing the mayor.
Okay.
And that forms a council which oversees the operation of a city, and the council has a relationship with everyone in the city who works there, the various departments, etc. So with the school board, we do the same thing. We have a particular region, and for the Lester B. Pearson School Board, I think you know it goes from Verdun right out to the Ontario border, and we have, you know, many schools, many elementaries, high schools, vocational educational, and so on. And so we serve that huge population of people who are eligible to go to English schools.
Okay.
And to govern that, we have, in our particular school board, we have 12 different wards. They're called wards.
Okay.
And each wards has a commissioner that represents it, who is elected democratically. And on top of that, there is a chairperson who is elected across the entire territory, who doesn't have a ward, but who is elected to represent and lead the Council of Commissioners.
Okay.
So when you ask what does a chair do at a school board, one of the jobs of a chair of a school board is to lead the Council of Commissioners to, it's not just about council meetings, it's all of the work that goes on behind the scenes. So you are the leader and you provide leadership, and you work very closely as the chair of the school board with the director general and the assistant director generals to work collaboratively on vision, and we work on that obviously collaboratively with all of the commissioners. So that's what the chairperson does, is lead that group, but there are many other tasks as well.
Okay. Now, would you compare a little to like running a city where the chair is sort of like the mayor and the commissioners are like city councilors? Would you say they're similar in a sense?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
It was an analogy to give, because many individuals, I mean, many are very aware of school boards, but many are wondering, well, what does a school board do? And what I think we have to understand is that the board of, say, Lester B. Pearson, that board is democratically elected to govern the actual management of the entire school board. So we're there we're the overseers, we're the stewards, we're the caretakers, we're the community voice. We are those elected in those positions to listen to our communities, bring their points to the table, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the whole process with the school elections now, and why it's so important and vital for the English community to come out and vote as part of the school elections.
It's very important for the sustainability, I guess you would say, the not survival, that's a very, very sort of downer word, but we in Quebec have a unique right now as English-speaking Quebecers. We right to manage and control our own school boards, and those are very sort of legal terms, you know, manage and control, but we have a right to do this. And with any level of democracy, whether it be school board level, municipal level, provincial, federal, whatever it is, or any other kind of election that takes place, voter participation is very important for democracy. And if we give up on that, if we say, we don't care, I'm not interested, and the voter turnout is exceptionally low, then we're considered maybe not all that important. Maybe we don't need democratically elected school boards. Imagine, and I like to use that example, that analogy to municipal, you know, imagine if voter turnout were low and we said, oh, well, we don't really need elections anymore for mayor and city councilors. It doesn't really matter. It would never really happen at that level, but English school boards are constantly in this battle to maintain our minority rights. And if people don't come out and vote for us and don't inform themselves about who the candidates are and what their qualifications are and what their interests are, it's sort of a sad day for democracy. So that is why it's very important to get out and vote if you're eligible to vote. And that's another story.
Okay, so I want to let our viewers know that we are presently with Judy Kelly, who is a former school commissioner. She's a former teacher, 37 years experience. She is a running candidate to be the chair of the Lester B. Pearson School Board. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions in the chat for Judy. and we'll gladly answer those questions. I want to say hello to Nadia, Lawan, who's tuning in, Cynthia Wait, who's tuning in, and everyone else who's tuning in with us today. So the other thing I want to speak about is, how would you describe your platform, what you stand for as a chair?
Yeah, okay. I've been asked this question many times, and to be honest, I find it hard to narrow it down to a few words or a few terms that are going to just kind of blast out there and let you know what I stand for.
Okay.
I'll try to frame it a little bit differently. And most importantly, and this may sound very generic, but it's so important, it's so true. We, the Lethbridge Pearson School Board, the Council of Commissioners, all want the same thing. For
Yes.
the students of our school board, we want them to be able to receive an excellent education. We want each student to be able to receive an excellent education. In order to do that, we have to ensure that the student voice is heard, that we understand what students need and want. We have to ensure that teachers have the tools that they need to be able to do their jobs. We need to be sure that we have safe and secure environments in which to learn. We have to be sure that for students who have particular needs or special needs, that their needs are met. In vocational and adult education, we have to be sure that our programs are solid. You know, it goes on like that in every facet of the school board, it's our responsibility as the council and as the chair to ensure that these things happen. So for me, it is all about the delivery of services and making sure that our 20,000 children that we have in this Lethbridge Pearson School Board family and those 4,000 adults in continuing education are treated with respect and dignity and given the tools that they need to be able to learn to the best of their ability and to have success stories for each and every one of those students. So when you ask me for my platform, I can't just throw it out in a few words. I believe in too much that a school board can do to enhance the whole learning experience for all of our students.
So what caught my attention is, I look at your CV and you have a crazy amount of experience. You also used to work for the Minister of Education, and you were a former commissioner.
Yeah.
So as a former commissioner, what motivated you to come back again to be voted in as a commissioner?
As a commissioner chair. Well, yeah, so just a very quick little bit of background, because I was a commissioner from 2007 to 2014.
Yes.
I was retiring that year from teaching and career in teaching, and I thought it was a school board election that year coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to see what landscape is out there. I'm going to see what opportunities are out there.
Okay.
And, so 2 years later, there was a position, a commission for Ward 4 that became available because we had someone resign from the school board and Noel Burke became the chair, his ward. So I applied for that position. It was an interview process. There were other candidates, and I was very honored to be selected as the person to fill that chair again. So I came back because I believe in the work that school commissioners do.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, there's so much that goes on. We are invited to our governing boards at the schools we represent to, as a guest, to sit, to listen, to provide information, to provide that branch between a school and what the commissioners are discussing at the school board. But we work on so many different levels in our different committees, from programs and services to communications and marketing to safe and caring schools to governance and ethics to finance to, so we have all of these committees that we sit on and work on with the administrative bodies and parents who are part of those committees and other delegated people from across the school board. And we discuss issues that come to the table. And I'll give you one, which was recently the establishment of the task force.
Yes.
The task force, which was such an important task force on, our I'll call it race relations, but that's not all that it is. It's about inclusion. It's about diversity.
Definitely.
That came from the Council of Commissioners. We identified some problems that came to us, and we sat down and we said we have to do something about this now. And so we created the task force. We engaged with our community to figure out how to do that. And now we have this task force, which is going to work on making recommendations to the Council of Commissioners about how we can improve our curriculum, how we can improve our policies, and so on and so forth, in order to make sure that we are inclusive and diverse. And that's what a Council of Commissioners can do. We work on policies. We are the ones that work with administrative teams. And again, it depends on the policy, parents and others, to create policies that are important to how our school board operates. Commissioners do that, and we send those out for consultation. So all of that work excites me. It doesn't excite everybody. It excites me because it's how you can take a part in what a school board does. And as an elected, and in my case, I was appointed the last time, but that's part of the Education Act and how it works. I'm involved on the inside. So for an educator, I always had worked on the outside. When I came to the inside of the school board to understand all of those bits and pieces, I thought this Lester B. Pearson School Board is an amazing place to work and to be part of, and to help it to grow and help it to grow with the times and evolve and do the best it can do for our English-speaking community that it serves.
Definitely. So those who are tuning in, we are presently with Judy Kelley, who is a candidate for chair for the Lester B. Pearson School Board. Later on in the show, we do have D.VERTUS from Groupe 3737 who'll be with us. And we also have Mr. Richard Tate, the master chef from BISTRO NOLAH, that will also be joining us later on in the show. So we have a couple of comments right here. We have Allison Saunders, who is running for Commissioner in Ward 4 in the Lester B. Pearson School Board. She said, great that Lester B. Pearson is a leader in this, and other school boards should follow suit. I agree. And she also asked, what does the government's announcement today mean for the race?
Oh, because, okay. So today, for those who aren't aware, because Montreal and a good part of the province of Quebec now is in a red zone, the government made an announcement today, it's through public health, that the school board elections, for those of us who will be elected, whether it's for chair or in, like Allison Saunders is running in my old ward as of a month ago, is running in that ward. It's contested, so someone's running for that seat as well.
Yes.
Anyhow, so those elections are going to be postponed, but we don't have any more information other than that. But what I understand is that we should have details by Friday about what that's going to look like, and how will it be that the council will continue to do its work between now and whenever that election is. We don't know. We don't have any details.
Okay.
So we're waiting. Yeah.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your email on the screen. So if you want to contact Judy Kelley, if you have any questions regarding the school board elections, please feel free to contact her and email her, or you can simply contact her on her Facebook. Judy Kelley, you're going to stay with us. We're going to put you backstage right now. You're going to join us later on in the show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just have a correction for the email, which is jforchair2020@gmail.com. I think and something I sent to you. I made the mistake. New email account. So jforchair2020@gmail.com. Thanks.
Okay. jforchair2020@gmail.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching right now George Floyd Live Talk. Up next, we are going to invite le seul et unique, le directeur innovation sociale, responsable de l'initiative Appuyer les communautés noires du Canada, du groupe 3737. Mesdames et messieurs, we want to welcome Mr. D.VERTUS. Ça va bien?
Bonsoir à tous.
En forme?
Good evening, everyone. I'm fine.
Good. So how we doing? On fait ça en français ou anglais? What do you want to do?
We're going to go both. Like sometimes it's
Anglais?
going to be in English and sometimes it's going to be in French, depending how
you feel?
how we're going to feel. I hope like everyone who's listening can understand either French or English. I hope so.
Good. So, avant qu'on commence, c'est qui D.VERTUS? Who is D.VERTUS?
Avant tout, je pourrais dire que depuis les 10 dernières années, j'étais en développement économique.
Oui. Okay.
Si aujourd'hui, je suis directeur de l'innovation sociale au groupe 3737, c'est que durant les 5 dernières années, j'avais une firme de consultation stratège PME. C'est que je structurais les organisations et les entreprises.
Okay.
Et puis, avant ça, j'étais directeur dans un centre local de développement. Aujourd'hui, on appelle ça PME Montréal. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? C'est qu'on aide les entreprises ou les organisations en leur donnant du soutien financier ou du soutien technique.
Nice.
Et moi, personnellement, avant ça, pendant une quinzaine d'années, j'ai été un restaurateur. J'ai ouvert 3 restaurants à Montréal.
Oh, wow.
Le dernier, il s'appelle Flap Flap. Il a été ouvert en 2008, puis il est encore ouvert. Ça fait 12 ans qu'il est en opération.
OK, good.
Et avant ça, ben, je travaille dans un cabinet comptable. C'est là que j'ai commencé ma carrière.
All right.
À peu près ça, mon chemin.
OK. Nadia Lawan says franglais. Vu qu'on parle en franglais.
Okay, so we're going to mix things.
Mix it up. Okay. So, a lot of us have been hearing about Groupe 3737. A lot of us, see it as many things as an incubator for businesses. But what is Groupe 3737's role today in the Black community? Because it's doing a lot right now in the Black community.
Yes, but like you said, since 2012, Groupe 3737 is an incubator accelerator. And what they do basically is take entrepreneurs and bring them to their next step. So if they're at the very beginning, they can have a training on how to launch their business. And if they're already start their business, they can come. We have a program called Elevation. This is an accelerator. So you just start your business for a few months, 1 year, 2 years, and you want to go to the next step. So you get in a program of from 12 weeks to 16 weeks, where you get a lot of mentorship, a lot of coaching to bring you to your next step.
Okay.
And among this company, some went from 1 employee to 12 employees.
Nice.
Some come from selling locally and then they go globally.
Wow.
So that's what we've been doing until I would say 2020.
Okay.
But since now, since October 17, we got a new mandate.
Yes.
So that means we used to work mostly with businesses.
Yes.
Now we have a new program, and now we're going to focus on non-profit organizations.
Okay. So talk about that program there.
So, but I need to say that we will still keep the other programs.
Okay.
So Groupe 3737 is 8 programs running all year long.
Okay.
And this program for non-profit organizations, but it might be the bigger one because we have a bigger budget, but it's going to be focused on non-profit organization. It's going to be for helping them to increase their organizational capacity. Okay. So basically, we will take a few organizations all over Quebec, Black-led organizations.
Okay.
And over 3 years, we will fund them. So we have some grants to give them. And then we're going to bring them to another step.
Okay.
So
nice.
To help them becoming more performant organizations.
Dis en français? En français?
On va les aider à devenir des organisations beaucoup plus performantes.
Okay, so better performing organizations. That's the role.
Because the better your organizational capacity is, the better funding you can get, and more funding you can get for your organization. So more people you can help, because most of these organizations, they have a social commitment, they have a social mission, and like you need human resources and financial resources to be able to meet your goals and to reach your mission.
Okay. I want to let people know we are presently with Mr. D.VERTUS, who is Directeur Innovation Sociale at Groupe 3737. And he is talking about how Groupe 3737 will be supporting Black-led nonprofit charitable organizations. And also don't forget that later on in the show, we do have the master chef himself, the international man himself, Mr. Richard TAIT, that will be joining us. My question to you, Mr. Ed, how do you define a Black-led organization?
As of now, it's 2 things.
Okay.
Your governance and your management thing.
Okay.
So if your board
yes
have at least 2/3
2/3.
of the
Okay.
people who are Afro descendant,
Black people. Okay.
then you can be considered as a black led. And
Okay.
if on the other hand, on the volunteers,
Yes.
but not specifically volunteers, but people in the position of managing things, taking
Yeah.
decisions,
Okay.
they might be volunteers, general manager or director positions, because it depends of the size. I mean, for some organization they have only one employee and he's black, so you are a black led organization. But for some, I'm gonna give the example of Group 37. We have a diverse board.
Yes.
There's a lot of people from different backgrounds, but we have more people coming from the black community, so that's why it's black led. But we're not talking about 100% because we still valorize diversity and all kind of inclusion.
Okay. Let's talk about the event that's coming up on August 14th. It's an information session about supporting Black communities of Canada for a grant program, and this is aimed for Black nonprofits and Black-led nonprofits to build capacity by 2024. So why don't you talk to us a little about this information session that will be happening?
Yeah, this event on October 14, it's part of a regional tour. We will be hosting 10 events of that kind from October 18 to October 28th.
Okay.
So we're starting with Gatineau, October 13. On October 14, which is Wednesday, during the day it's going to be the English session. At night it's going to be the French session. And then the week after we go to Quebec City, we go to Rimouski, we go to Sherbrooke, we go to Trois-Rivières. So basically but you know, it's online.
Yeah.
But when you said we go, initially we wanted to go, but you know, lately the government say don't get out of your city.
Reste chez vous, reste chez vous.
But still it's going to be local. So for example, Monday, October 13, but most of the people on the call will be people from Gatineau and the surrounding.
Okay.
And on 14, it's for Montreal people, but on the other day, Sherbrooke and everything. So we will be doing this online with these people. And basically what's gonna happen, first we're gonna give all the details about the program.
Okay.
But mostly we will talk about how to go get this grant.
Okay.
How long it's going to take.
And that's a federal
What's
grant.
going to be the process.
Federal grant. C'est fédéral. La subvention, c'est fédéral. It's a federal grant.
Yeah, it's a federal grant coming from the Ministry of Social Development.
Yes.
So they will give us an envelope so we can redisperse this money through organization.
Ed, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How much is that envelope? How much are you dispersing?
But we're looking. It's not a major envelope.
Mm-hmm.
The whole initiative that they announced back in 2019 was a $25 million envelope.
Yeah, money's gone.
But out of this 25 million, they're gonna build an institute for the Black culture history.
Okay.
This is gonna be somewhere in Toronto.
Okay.
And already there's some money already given.
Yeah.
Some organization had until July 31st to apply.
Yeah.
So if they did apply, they can get up to $1,000.
1,000?
No, 100,000.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
$1,000, ça va aller.
No, 100,000, so they can do some investment in. We're talking about capital costs, like doing some renovation, maybe buying a truck, things like this.
Yeah. But that grant that came out in July, they haven't announced who received that money yet.
It's done. They announced it somewhere in May, June.
Yeah.
And then the call of proposal started in early July and finishes at the end of July.
Okay, but they didn't give the money out yet. They haven't announced that yet.
No, they didn't give the money because I'm thinking they are evaluating the files now.
Yeah. So for those who applied for that there are many people who are waiting for answers.
Yeah, it's gonna be within the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the information session for the Anglophone community that's happening on October 14th. I have the number on the screen. If people want to call 514-544-3737. If people have any questions right now for Ed, please send us your questions right now. Cynthia Waite says Genesis Community Foundation would like to have more information. So Cynthia, you can call the number 514-544-3737 and leave Ed a message, and he'll definitely get back to you.
But email is always better. We can always be reached on our Group 3077 Facebook page. They can
what's the email,
communicate with us. It's contact.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Contact at Group 3737. Group 3777.com.
.com. Not .org.com.
I'm writing it on the chat now.
Okay. I just wrote it too.
Got it. Contact at Group 37. And also we have a one-page document which is going to be published this Friday.
Okay.
So people can have an overview of the program. But we really keep all the information for the information session because we need people to be there seeing what we're going to say. But it's not only about what Group 377 would say, because we will give like some technical information, like I said, the deadlines and everything, how to fill the forms. But in these events, there's going to be 10 of them. We also invite people.
Yes.
We invite some great people in the community. So just to let you know, next Wednesday, October 14th, we will have as guest, we will have Pharaoh Ahmed from OFC, One Full Circle.
Definitely.
He's going to be discussing with us. We have Tiffany Calendar for the network for the advancement of the African people. And we're going to have the director of the Black Resource Community.
Your Center? Oh, BCRC.
BCRC, Mrs. Francis.
Mrs. Francis, okay.
And guess who's going to be the moderator of the panel? It's someone that we know in the community for years. He can speak French and English. He's been on TV, radio, everywhere. Malik Shahid will be the moderator of the panel because we would have some discussions, because all this session is about to discuss about first our issues, because black communities have a lot of issues, but especially all these three people will come with some solution to issues. And also they will be discussing about when you get a grant of 30,000 or 50,000 in order to increase your global capacities, what does it mean? So they will be here to discuss, and people will be able to exchange with them. So it's not only about me talking. I'm gonna talk, but not for all the events. So it's gonna be really a space for exchanging on solutions, most likely.
Okay, cool. So Ed, what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna put you backstage with the rest of the celebrities, and we're gonna come in now with Mr. Richard TAIT, who is the chef of BISTRO NOLAH and the co-owner of BISTRO NOLAH. He's laid back in the cut with the pink shirt on, like he's going to Hawaii, or he's going to the beach or something. He's a chef, he's an entrepreneur, he's a philanthropist who gives back to the community along with BISTRO NOLAH. Mesdames et messieurs, welcome to the show, the master chef himself, extraordinaire, Richard TAIT.
Thank you.
How you doing today, Rich?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. So for those who aren't familiar with BISTRO NOLAH, tell us what is BISTRO NOLAH and where is it located, please?
BISTRO NOLAH is located in Dollar des Ormeaux. We've been there going on 9 years now.
Wow, already 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
That's crazy.
The theme of the restaurant is Southern Bistro.
Yes.
Basically, New Orleans style classic cooking with a bit of a modern day twist.
Okay.
Plus, bistro items that you would find like at L'Espresse downtown,
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And why the Southern cuisine style of dishes served at your restaurant? Why'd you guys go that route?
Well, it was my partners, Isabel and Chris, weren't too familiar with that cuisine. But when we thought of opening up something, I had a background in that style of food.
Okay.
So we decided to roll with it because it was something different. And we wanted to do it very well.
Yes.
You know, which is, you know, I could say after 9 years, we've accomplished that task, right?
Okay.
And that was basically it. And then placing it in the West Island was to give people an option to heading downtown.
Yeah, downtown's tough, man. Ugh.
You know,
headaches going downtown. Headaches, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's
the beautiful thing is now, we have people coming from downtown to the West Island to eat.
Yeah, yeah, great food and easy parking.
And easy parking. Two key elements.
Yeah, and no detours and
no orange cones.
Oh man, downtown's rough, man. Like
very rough. I feel for my my buddies down there that are going through the grind right now.
Yeah, you know, Saint Denis Street went through it. Saint Laurent Street went through it. St. Catherine between Blurry and
Bishop and Mackay have been through it.
Yeah, it's between Blurry and where the Eaton Center is. I forgot what street that is. Man, it's just brutal downtown.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what inspires your dishes, your creations. Where do you get your ideas from? What inspired Richard Tate?
That's an ongoing thing, you know. Regardless to its cookbooks, going to eat out, talking with other chefs. It comes from a variety of places. There's not one place that I tap into to get inspired. You know, and that's an ongoing thing day to day. So it never ends.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about, you know, the lockdown of restaurants, the COVID, the decision for by the provincial government for force restaurants to close. How has this interrupted your business and changed the way you do business?
Well, the first lockdown basically caught everyone by surprise because we had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And then the industry on a whole had to make an adjustment to what was happening. For certain establishments, it was an easy flip because they already had a takeout clientele.
Okay.
For a place like ours where takeout was 2% of the business that we were doing, it was a big flip. Plus the style of food, you know, if you've been to NOLAH, you see the plate presentation, the whole 9 yards, and we're a mid, just shy of a high-end restaurant in terms of your average check cover.
Yeah.
And so now we had to flip this concept into takeout. We had no choice, right? The beautiful thing with the food that we serve at the restaurant, it's comfort food. We just dress it up, but the core of the food is comfort food. Meaning similar to something that you would cook at home. The integrity of the food actually travels very well for takeout. And the saving grace for us is because we are a specialty restaurant, we're not like anyone else. That customer base, and we have phenomenal customers, have been supporting the cause, right?
Loyalty.
There's nowhere else to get NOLAH food but at NOLAH, right? So this is just what it is.
And do you feel that it was fair to close down restaurants?
That's I don't know how I could answer
some
that.
restaurants were very strict in terms of you know, their procedures in, you know, welcoming guests with COVID. You know what I mean? Strict on procedures.
Okay, I'm following you now. Listen, I would say 95% of the industry, they were following the protocols of the directives from the government.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we had about 5% who looked at it as an opportunity for them to profit.
Yeah.
and said, you know, forget the protocols. I have said, I'm on record saying that that 5% of the industry, the government should have clamped down on them.
Yeah.
And hard,
Big
right?
fines, closing, yeah.
Big fines and closing if warranted. But you know, it is what it is. That's always going to happen in any situation. This second closing,
yes,
now is, you know, it stings a little bit for a lot of us, because a lot of places invested a chunk of money in COVID proofing their establishments, right?
That's right.
So some owners feel jilted, you know, like we were doing everything we were supposed to.
Yeah. And you took money out of your pocket to do that.
Well, yeah, they took it, and some programs started to give some of it back, but it's the whole process that places went through to make that environment as safe as possible for people to dine, only to have the rug pulled from under us again, right? So here we are, shutdown number 2.
So for this shutdown number 2, what percentage of restaurants do you feel won't make it through shutdown number 2? They're gonna have to shut their doors.
Boy, that's a tough one, because the first shutdown basically thinned the herd. There were operations that weren't running properly from the get-go.
Yeah.
Some didn't even last a week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. But if you were running your business properly,
okay,
you got through the first shutdown. This second shutdown here now, especially heading into the winter with the cold, the flu, and then we have COVID, there's going to be a lot of things that factor into this equation now. People, the nature of people will be to stay at home.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're not going to order takeout. In the event now that we do reopen during the winter, I think that dining rooms will still feel that impact.
Yeah.
Because the numbers will be, we hope that the numbers don't keep going up, but if the numbers do keep going up, that's going to affect business internally. The saving grace here that keeps a lot of restaurants afloat.
Okay.
Mainly 2 things.
What's that?
Well, the wage subsidy helps out big time.
75%.
Yeah.
The government kicks in. The federal government kicks in.
Federal government kicks in. The rent relief that we receive for 3 to 4 months.
That's the federal government too. It kicks in that, right?
That helped out. Now the Quebec government just offered something here, 80% of fixed expense. You're forgiven 80% of fixed expenses.
For how long? From when to when?
That is basically for this period that they've shut us down.
So 28 days?
28 days.
So what's considered a fixed expense?
Well, your rent,
okay,
your gas, your hydro, all those, you know, if you're paying for, I don't know, internet, whatever, all of those fixed expenses, 80% they will cover. So between those 2 things, plus takeout, most places will stay whole.
Okay.
Right? The saving grace, the wage subsidy will carry through into the spring of next year.
Thank God.
But you're still left with rent and a few other variables, right? Yeah. So, no, it's to be honest with you, the winter is going to be a very tough time for this industry. Yeah.
You know, it's really taking a beating is the clubs and the venues, the show venues. I don't know how to do it.
It's a sad state of affairs for people who have invested, you know, 10, 15, 12, whatever years of their life into a business, and their hands, there's nothing that they can do.
Nothing you can do.
This is totally out of their control, right?
Yeah. I want to let people know you guys are watching George for Life Talk right now. We are with the chef and co-owner of Bistro NOLAH. He goes by the name of Richard TAIT. And later on in the show, we're going to have Mr. D.VERTUS from Groupe 37 and Judy Kelley, who is running as a chair for the Let's Be Person School Board, who will be joining us at the end of the show. But my last question to you, Richard, is how can people watching right now, what would you say to people watching in terms of how they can support restaurants?
Well, it's very simple. You know, if you dine at a place on a regular basis, and you want to see that place come out of this or come out on the other side of this, you guys got to support.
Okay.
You know, it's not only about Bistro NOLAH. It's about, you know, example, Bistro Grace in the West Island, or these nice little neighborhood spots that you frequent in the summer and enjoy yourselves. We need those takeout orders during this time.
Yeah. And we put the number on the screen. It's 514-696-9797. That number's still good?
That number's still good.
All right. And we have Cynthia Waite, who says Bistro NOLAH is the hidden gem of the West Island. And we have Marie-France Miron, who says best food ever. Do you agree with that, Richard?
I let my customers speak about the establishment. We just work.
Okay, cool. What we're going to do right now, we're going to bring back on Judy Kelly, and we're going to bring back on Mr. D.VERTUS. I want to thank you guys for being part of George Floyd Live Talk. But before we end the show, we always like to ask people their thoughts on if you were able to send a message to all three levels of government in terms of being able to help people right now through COVID. What message would you like to say to them? So we'll start off with you, Ed. What message would you like to say to any level of government in terms of how they can help out people through COVID? Maybe something they haven't thought of yet.
I'm going to say it in French. Il y a différentes ressources au fédéral et il y a différentes ressources au provincial et il y a différentes ressources au municipal.
Okay.
Jusqu'à présent, les ressources au fédéral, les documents sont faciles à remplir et on a une réponse rapide. So with the federal government grants program or programs to help businesses, it's easy to fill up, to fill these documents.
Yeah.
For government of Quebec, it's too complicated. So they need to hire an accountant or consultant to fill the forms. For me, it's good because this is the business of my firm to fill this form.
Okay.
So for me, it's good. But for the entrepreneurs, it would be better if they can fill it themselves. You go on a website and you take 10 minutes, you fill your form, and then you get your money like in 5 days. That's how it works.
You're saying right now, au niveau provincial, it's not you filling it out, it's someone filling it out for you?
No. Technically, the entrepreneur should fill it out, but it's complicated.
Okay.
So they need help.
Okay.
So most of the time, they have to pay someone to help them fill the documents.
Yeah.
You see? So if they can make things easier with a faster response, that would be great.
Okay. And what about municipal? You had mentioned something about municipal.
Yeah, municipal. They have a $40,000 grant. You got to go to PME Montreal. It was supposed to be super easy, but it's not super easy.
Okay. So the $40,000 grant, I know the federal government had one also. The municipal $40,000 grant, that's for companies, businesses?
Yeah, it's for businesses and also non-profit organizations. So basically, here is the rule. If you cannot qualify yourself for the federal government grant, but not grant. I will not say grant because it's not a real grant. I mean, it's a loan. If you can't qualify for the $40,000 financing or funding, so then the government of federal put a program called FARR, Fonds d'aide régionale pour la relance.
Okay.
So it's managed locally.
Okay.
So if you live on the island of Montreal, you go to PME Montreal. If you live on the island of Laval, you go to Développement Économique Laval. So everywhere you are in Quebec, you go see your municipality, I would say.
Okay.
And then you can get this financement.
Okay, perfect. And that's another thing also for people who have businesses. Check out PME Montreal. They're all over the city, and they're supposed to help you guys in terms of helping you figure out what type of financing and grants and subventions are available to help you through this.
Yeah.
Judy Kelley, what are your thoughts on this? Any advice to three levels of government to help people through this COVID?
Yeah, well, I'll focus on education, and I'll focus on the provincial government because municipal is not really involved in education. But I would like to say to the Minister of Education, Jean-François Lauberge, to please listen to the communities, listen to the teachers, listen to the frontline workers, listen to those at our school boards and service centers as well. Listen to what people are saying they need to do to keep themselves safe and secure and to provide the best education they can for all the students at this time. And it's those in the front lines, like those in healthcare, the people in the front lines know what's going on, and they need to be listened to and not dictated to. So please listen. And the resources, yes, I mean, the resources come to us in envelopes that you can use so much money for this and so much money for that. Keep the envelopes coming, please, to help us through these times and to keep our students and teachers and staff safe. And daycares safe.
Yeah. Actually, next week we are hoping to have Mr. Christopher Skeet from the CAC come on our show and have a discussion with him regarding many things. So hopefully he'll accept our invitation and he'll be here next week. That's Christopher Skeet from the CAC.
Okay.
And Mr. Tate, Richard Tate, what message would you have?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Ed and Judy said. They got to start listening to people that are in front of all of this. And as Ed said, they got to start simplifying things. Case in point, the rent relief, you know, that should have been left to entrepreneurs to fill out the paperwork. Instead, example, in our case, our landlord has 200 tenants.
Wow.
And as Ed could tell you, there's a lot of documentation to be filled out. So imagine you have 200 tenants.
Yeah.
He is less inclined to do this if they propose this rent relief again. They should let the entrepreneurs, we pay our rent, we fill out the documentation, and they reimburse us individually. This is where a lot of restaurants ran into problems. And they just have to listen to the people, you know, listen to the teachers, listen to small business owners. Stop making all the decisions unilaterally amongst themselves and involve the people, get input from the people on what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully we'll all get through this.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show, and I want to wish you guys a safe, you know, stay safe and all the best in your endeavors. And looking forward to, you know, connecting with you guys and working with you guys.
Thank you for the opportunity, and it was great to hear your stories both. Thanks for sharing. It was great. I can't get the takeout.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I want to let people know that we're here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, we are here discussing social issues and solutions. So I need you guys to tune in, share this information to all your people, friends, and families. All right. Take care, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Shahid, and you are watching George Floyd Live Talk.
Pleasure.